Good morning. Welcome to Roland DGA's Partner Webinar Series. My name is Dave Hawks, and I'll be your moderator today. Our presenter is Bobby Fossen. Bobby is with SAi Supply, and he works very closely with SAi, both selling and supporting their Flexi Cloud solutions. So we're really happy to have Bobby with us today. Okay. Without further delay, I'm going to turn this over to Bobby.
Hey, David, thanks for the intro. I appreciate that, and appreciate everybody taking the time to join the webinar. We're hoping that this does actually help out a few people that are currently using the Flexi, whether it's version 8, 10, or the current cloud. As most of you know, Flexi Cloud was recently released. They are running some promotions through April 30th for anybody upgrading from version 8 or prior. You can save quite a bit of money right now, but Flexi 10 users, you can upgrade for free for a limited time. Again, that's through April 30th. I'd recommend you contact either SAi, contact SAi Supply, or your current Flexi dealer. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to go over some of the new features for the Flexi Cloud, just to go over those right now, just to get a general idea of what's going on. So with the software open, the new version of Flexi Cloud, they have quite a few new drivers for all of your latest printers and vinyl cutters. You're also going to have Windows 8 support, with exception, I believe, to the RE version, which is for your tablets. You do have improved PDF transparency support, so a lot of the problems that they had in early versions of 10 pretty much seem to be resolved. We've got some good feedback from customers on that. The future upgrades on the cloud version, due to their licensing system, is going to be a lot faster, a lot easier, less install time, less problems. You're also going to have options or the ability to use their Flexi Quote tool. They have a mobile apps application for the Android and the iPhone as well. Really good for shop owners to kind of keep track of what's actually being sent out from the production manager. If you're sending jobs from Flexi to VersaWorks, obviously you're not outputting from production manager. Those apps really are not going to be a huge benefit at that point. They've also added the cloud storage, so you can actually now start storing files on the fly through their cloud storage. And with you upgrading to their 10.5 or the cloud version, you automatically get 1 gig of free storage. Again, if you have questions about upgrading, you're welcome to contact me or call SAi International Direct. Or again, always as recommended, we try to promote contacting the local dealer that you originally bought the software from, and hopefully you can continue the business with them. Today we're going to go over a few basics of creating a file in the Flexi Cloud to then be sent over to the Roland VersaWorks for output. Things we plan on covering right now are the basic VersaWorks queue setup and printing of the color chip charts, which in this case, we'll go ahead and pull VersaWorks so you can see that. The installation of the Roland color system libraries into the Flexi Cloud software. We're also going to assign colors within the Flexi Cloud using these special spot colors. We're then at that point going to send over from the Flexi Cloud directly to the VersaWorks. And lastly, we'll cover saving the Flexi Cloud preferences using the Preference Manager, something we get quite a few tech support calls on, and or that would actually resolve some of those support calls as well. So basically what we're going to do is within the VersaWorks, there's quite a bit of documentation that Roland has developed on the VersaWorks. I highly recommend any and everybody download and read the VersaWorks basic tutorial. It is available on the Roland website. If you need help finding this file, you're welcome to call us, or you can also contact Roland direct. It's fairly easy to find. Just go to the RolandDGA.com website, click on support, click on VersaWorks. On the left-hand side, you'll see all kinds of options that you can actually start learning a little bit more detail about the program. For the basic queue setup, most clients, excuse me, most of our clients set up the QA for your standard print cut option using their most common vinyl products. And what we're going to do is, in order to start changing some of these settings, we go to the edit menu, and here again you can change your QA settings, B settings, and so forth. QB normally, at least the clients that we have, are set up either for banners or an additional product that they use quite a bit, or setting up as a cut-only option. So at this point we can go into QA settings and we're now in the section where we're going to be setting the default values for each and every job that comes into this queue setting. So once you actually make these setting changes, they're set. Now, when you import a file directly into VersaWorks, whether it's through the Flexi Cloud or through the open option, you can override most of these settings through here. Within the QA properties right now, we're going to go ahead and make some changes to this. For example, media type, the quality settings, right now we're just set up for a GCVP, a glossy calendared vinyl. As you can see, I currently have a VS540 set up on our network as well right now. And you also see this MT. That basically means that this machine has metallic ink in it, and we're choosing the metallic option for this profile, so we have the option to actually printing the metallic ink. From there, most of these settings are going to be the same. When you're actually printing the rolling spot colors, the preset really is not going to make a difference in this case. And again, going through the VersaWorks basic tutorial will teach you a little bit more about the color management settings here. So from here, we're also going to go into the file format. You need to, if you're going to do any kind of print cut or any kind of cutting, you definitely want to have at least a 0.05, 0.10 inch margin. I'm sure some of you at some point in time early on ran into some problems where you were sending a job to cut, and then at that point, it was only cutting 3 sides of your piece. So this should take care of that. Let's see here. I've got a few questions here. Is everybody hearing me okay on this right now? Okay, looks like Fred, Rick, everybody. Okay, it sounds like everybody's seeing this. I'm sorry, Cindy, if you were having some trouble there. It may have been something on my side, but we'll go right on through here. Going back here to the queue settings, you also want to make sure that you have the convert spot color checked, and as well as the convert special colors. This is basically how the software recognizes the actual name nomenclature of the color palettes from the Flexi software, as well as if you're using Illustrator, Corel, and so forth. So once we have those set up the way we want, while we're learning the software, as well as just picking up some of the basics, I almost always like to tell my customers, check this print job properties, and literally check everything in here, especially when you're doing these color chip charts, which we'll be going through here in just a few minutes. In the notes of each and every job, at least while you're learning, you want to actually go ahead set up the time, the date, things like that, as well as what brand of material that you're actually sending over or sending the file to, or anything along that lines that might be important for that specific information. Obviously, there's quite a bit more options in this software that you'll need to actually change, but for now, this is basically what we're going to go with, and we'll start working from there. Once we have the actual settings there, you click OK, and everything should be saved at that point. All right, so from here, we want to actually go ahead and go up to the media setting, and we're going to actually pull up the color chip chart. Most everybody's probably seen this. From here, you're just going to hit OK, and at that point, rip the file, send the job to print, and you now have basically a color match system that you can start using. And again, when you actually are printing these things with the labels, it really does make things a lot easier because it's going to print right down here at the bottom. All of the settings that you use, the date, the time, as well as the notes that you actually put in down here. And that just makes it a lot easier if, again, you change materials or anything like that. So once you actually have this color chip chart actually printed out, now it's a matter of going into your Flexi software and actually being able to reproduce these colors. So from here, we'll just open up the Flexi software, and as you see, we're running the cloud version here. To open up the roll and color swatch library, it's fairly simple. A couple of different ways of doing it. The easiest and quickest way that I've run across is go down to the bottom, right-click here where your color palette is, and you can open a table. You might need to browse to actually find it, but it is under the SAi Production Suite swatch library directories under roll. And here you have the roll and color system library as well as the metallics. So we'll just go ahead and use the color system library here. We open, and as you can see, all of our spot colors that are within that color chip chart are now visible. In order to actually make finding these a little bit easier, I undock this toolbar or the color palette, expand this out a little bit, scoot it over, and now you can actually see everything that's RVW is obviously VersaWorks, and then you also have all of your color sets that are actually printed up on your color chart. So it does make them a little bit easier to actually locate. They are in order. So from here, if we're actually going to go ahead and apply a job in here, I'm going to go to the cloud here, which as you can see in the cloud window, you can actually turn this on or off to actually make use of the space. So that was a common question there early. From here, I can just choose the files section, and I can actually click on a file that I've previously saved up on the cloud server and download it, and then simply click open. It actually will pop this file directly in, and we have everything to work with. So using the cloud server is very helpful. Again, it's just for temporary storage, backup, things like that of some of your important files. But from here, we're going to actually assign, we have basically a complete vector object here. And it's just a matter of selecting the object that you want to work with, and then go from there and choose which color that you want to pick. So from there, based on your vinyl, job, as well as the color chip chart, you're going to scroll through, find the color that you want. And I'm looking for the 42K. And then from there, it's again just picking whichever one that you actually have pulled from that chart. Now, once you actually have these applied, you can then at that point get ready to save the file, possibly archive the file to the web, and then at that point we'll send it out to the VersaWorks. So we're going to drop it in black here. I tell you what, let's do this. I'm going to open up another color palette. This will actually be the Roller Metallic. Let's say, for example, I wanted to have the leading software for sign making actually in silver. If your machine's capable of printing the silver, that's extremely simple to do. I'll scroll all the way over. We have these actually spot colors here. I have the MT silver. Click on that. That's really all there is to it. So from there, we'll take this rectangle, and I'm going to go ahead and turn the stroke off of it, and then apply contour cut. So we go to Effects, click on Contour Cut. So at this point, we pretty much have the file ready to output. It's really now a matter of saving the file. And then from there, if again you want to actually save it to the file, we can do that as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to select this job here. We'll go ahead and I'm going to choose to go ahead and archive this file, which they have a small icon right up here at the top in Flexi Cloud that says Archive to Cloud. So I can click on this, and then at that point, it's automatically uploaded that file where now I have both of them in here. See the black one that we originally started with, the color object that we have here. You can also manage these files simply by clicking on them. So if I don't need this anymore, I click delete. It's now off your server, and you've now opened up that file space for future use. So from here, we'll go ahead, we're going to select this object, again, print cut with spot colors, and we're going to actually choose the Send to VersaWorks option. Now, your VersaWorks does not have to be open in order for you to send a job to the queue. Once you actually open the VersaWorks software, it's going to have that holding in the queue and be ready for you to output, make changes, and so forth from there. So what we'll do is we're going to go ahead at this point, click on the Send to VersaWorks, and here it's automatically prompting you to give it a file name. This is a temporary file name. So I'm just going to basically call this test for now. And if you only wanted to send the selection only, obviously check this box. It will only send the information that you had selected originally. From here, we've got the VS540, our work path. We're going to send this into QA. You do have the option, of course, sending it to QB. It's just a matter of what material that you're sending it to. With it being set up as a print cut job in this situation with vinyl, QA is perfect based on the settings that we made earlier. I've got a question here from Paul. How much storage are we allowed to upload to the cloud? Is there a cost involved? The first 1 gig is free. As far as I know, there's no time limit on that, no subscriptions or anything there. You do have the option, if you start going over that 1 gig, that you can actually subscribe for more space. I do not have that information, but it is one of those things that I will address either later today or tomorrow in an email that we send out. that will have some of those prices and information for you. All right, going back, again, sending over to QA, we're going to go ahead and click on Send here. And at that point, click on our VersaWorks to open it back up. And as you can see, there's our test TPS file. I can double click on it. Here we are. And from here, we're just going to zoom in so we can see this a little bit closer. And let's see here. Actually cancel this for just 1 second. And it doesn't look like it brought over my contour cut. So either I didn't select it right or I didn't apply that file correctly. Or applied that correctly. So we're going to go back to Effects. Let's go to Arrange, Contour Cut, Make Contour Cut. There we go. And we'll send this job back over. Click on the VersaWorks, and we now have our file here. Now, previously I made a mistake. Didn't apply the contour cut correctly, and as I can, it's real easy to spot. I can see that there's a silver spot color here. There should be a blue capital A listed right here. If it's not there, it's not going to do a contour cut. For example, clicking back on our direct file, you can see the special item. You mouse over it, you have the normal cut option. So from here, we can open up this file, take a look at it, zoom in if we need to. And of course, you see the magic dancing ants that everybody talks about. And basically, symbolizing that it will actually cut along that path. So from here, it would be just a matter of setting up your material width, checking the quality, telling it exactly what material that you want to send it to. In this case, we're going to leave it set as the GCVP with MT. That's what we printed our chip chart out as. And from there, we can actually choose high quality layered, and so forth. Now, when it comes down to metallic and white inks, layered comes into effect, as it is going to print the solid colors of one as another, or it's going to actually print a full pass. In some cases, on some profiles, such as clear solvent material, you can actually choose several options. This gets into quite a bit of detail, and it will be something that we plan on doing in the future, or other webinars in the future. Or again, Roland's already got quite a few documentation videos on this option as well right now on their YouTube page. So we're going to go back to GCVP with metallic, standard high, or the high quality setting, because it is metallic. And here the actual print mode, CMYK, light cyan, light magenta with metallic ink. And from here we're going to double check. We have our 0.05 EPS margin, so it will actually complete the contour cut, and it shows our spot colors. These, as you can see, are from your color chart. So those are the ones that you actually chose to be the correct color. Now, in this case, as you can see, just by mousing or clicking over the metallic silver, it does have CMYK values in it, or at least CMK values in it. For demonstration purposes, a lot of times I like to edit this, so I can actually click on the Details tab here, select the metallic, and I can actually override these settings. So I'm going to set these all to 0 and set my metallic at 100. Now, obviously, this is going to increase the cost a little bit because metallic ink does cost a little bit more, but you are going to get a very glossy, very shiny silver, and I have to say it does even print well on the matte materials also. So we'll just hit OK here. As you can see, it made that change effective, and we're pretty much at that point ready to send this file over. Again, going back to the marks, go ahead and check everything. And it shows all of the details here. That's going to basically give you as much, a lot more information that if you're not the only operator that's actually using the equipment or looking at these color charts and so forth, it is going to make a difference in record keeping. Information is key. You have to have as much as possible. All right, so at this point, what we're going to do is go ahead and make sure that here we have it set as a contour cut. You have the option of cut image boundaries. In this case, not going to use it. It's cutting a simple rectangle around the object and so forth. But that's really pretty much the entire process in a nutshell of assigning spot colors in the Flexi software, using the Roland color selection, swatch table, I'm sorry, and then directly outputting to the VersaWorks software using those same spot numbers. If you use the same settings here as what you did when you printed out the chip chart, it should match exactly. There should be no question whatsoever. Let's see here. So I've got a question here from Perry. CMK or gray, then the metallic silver on top. No, in this case, it actually prints it very similar to that. Yeah, it does actually print the CMYK through it, and it prints all 4 colors at the same time, essentially as it makes passes over it. You usually don't get quite the same amount of gloss when you're actually throwing the CMYK into the silver, such as the special metallic silver colors like red, rose, and some of the lavenders that they have and so forth. On glossy media, you can still see it quite a bit, and it works very well. Matte finish, you won't see it hardly at all. It's one of those things that, again, if you really want a bright silver, you're going to have to push that up to 100% and eliminate the other colors. So hopefully that answered your question there. So from here, basically, we're just going to hit OK, and from there, release the job. It's going to print exactly the same colors that were on the color chart, as long as, again, no major differences have changed, such as humidity, temperature, things like that in the office compared to when you originally printed out your color chart. So really at that point, that pretty much covers most everything there. The only other thing I really wanted to go over today was the preference manager. We get quite a few people calling in saying they've had some sort of a shutdown of the computer, illegal operation, whatever. Just a number of different things that can happen on any PC and so forth. And when they open their Flexi software back up, all of the preferences are gone. Obviously, that is a pain in the rear, and it is something that you can actually avoid or at least combat a little bit. In order to do so, or to do that, essentially you're going to have to go into the Preferences Manager. So essentially we're going into the SAi Production Suite, going into the Preferences Manager, and you can actually at that point, once it comes up here, just pops up here behind it. It may not be allowing me in just due to the fact that I've got the software open. While we're waiting on that, I've got a question here from Brian that where did you get the rolling color chart in the VersaWorks? I was booted off when we were talking about. Okay. In order to open up the rolling chart, if you're talking about in the rolling VersaWorks, essentially all you have to do, let me actually delete a couple of these here to make it a little bit cleaner, is go up to your media and you have your color chip charts right here. You can click on each one, take a quick look at which one that it is that you want to look for. And you also have the option of clicking or printing out your color chip charts. For example, these are very similar to something that you would see like a Pantone book. It actually prints out 8.5 by 11 inch sheets that then at that point you have to trim, punch, and then use those as your own chip chart. And again, you have the metallic color selection as well. So again, as you can see, individual chips, all labels, all the names are listed on each one. So hopefully that answered your question, Brian. All right, so our preference manager came back up here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and close the Flexi software. Don't need to save that. From here, as you can see, we have a factory defaults. I have installed or saved a preference for clean install, as well as one just from yesterday. Anytime you make a major change in the software, whether it be adding a new device such as a roll-in printer, roll-in vinyl cutter, anything like that, or if you were to create any kind of shortcuts, color palettes, custom color palettes, things like that, you want to be able to save those. So it's recommended periodically, no different than doing Windows backups. So you can actually restore back as you need to. Go ahead and click on the Save button here and give it a date. And sometimes I'll actually put in a little bit more detail, such as added roll-in printer. and hit OK. At that point, it should give you somewhat of a restore date kind of to use to go back into Flexi. So if you start noticing that if something happened, once we hit save here, we'll hit exit. And once you run into a problem, you're actually going to be able to go back into that preference manager. And then from there, you can actually choose which preference file that you want to load. So I would recommend that you, just do this periodically. It will save you some time. And again, we get quite a few phone calls on this, as well as the color chip charts, things like that, how to actually open them, bring them up, and so forth. So it is one of those things that it will take some time, but as you save them, it should make things just quite a bit easier for you to go back if, unfortunately, you might run into a problem at some point in time. That pretty much takes care of it. Let's see here. Got a few questions here at the end. Can this be done in Flexi 10.5.1? If you're referring to, Rick, if you're referring to the preference manager, yes, you can do that in 10.5.1. You can do that even going back into version 8 as well. So do all files, another question, so do all files save to the cloud, or can we save to our hard drives? Paul, that's a great question. I recommend doing both. If you have some really important files, it's nice to have them backed up offline somewhere. For example, if we go ahead, let me pull this file back open. So I click download and open. Anytime you actually create your file or have your file pretty much ready to work with or finished, sure, go ahead, click File, Save As, go ahead and give it a file name, take care of it, save it wherever you're going to save it, and give it a file name. From there, you can also immediately go ahead, back it up to the cloud. So now you basically have two versions of that exact same file. So yes, you can do both. You can save locally as well as to your hard drives. Again, you only have 1 gig of storage on the cloud, so you will need to manage these files periodically in order to actually keep from going over your recommended 1 gig there. Another question here, when will the cloud be available for Mac? No clue, to be honest with you. That's something that we'll need to take up with SAi. I'm not privileged to some of the engineering information on the Mac, so as of right now, I don't know. I just don't have any details on that whatsoever, but I'll take note of it and we'll see what we can find out. Let's see here. Tom, got a question here. Unplugged my printer and switched Ethernet cables. Now it will not find the port. How do I fix it? Well, that could be a number of different things. It could be that if you switched it to the wrong cable, or whether you went through a crossover or straight through or something like that. It could have assigned it, if you're DHCP, could have assigned it as a different IP address. There's a number of different things there. So that'd be one of those things that you really need to contact your local dealer or Roland Support in order to try to help you out with that. Most of the time, that it's simply just a matter of restarting your router, restarting the printer, and it should be back up and running. It shouldn't take any more than a few minutes to take care of. Let's see. First install. All right, so I've got another question from Rick. Why does the poll button not work? It worked when I first installed, then stopped. I'd like to find out on that exactly which build number that you have on the Flexi software, as well as what version it is. I have seen some problems in the past with USB devices not polling correctly. That's usually a driver issue or simply a patch that needs to be installed on the software. But so far in my testing and playing around with the Flexi software cloud, haven't run into that. Richard, does Flexi have a gloss spot color? As far as I know, they do not right now. The Roland VersaWorks does have a gloss spot color library that you can use for Illustrator. I'm sure we could probably figure out a way to get that into Flexi. I guess you're probably referring to the UV printers, the LEJs, LEFs, and so forth. Again, that's one of those things that I would like to take up with you a little bit later and try to get some more detail for you. Let's see. I'm going to import fonts. I have been using, using for years from Castmate. Castmate's pretty much gone. You know, the fonts that were from there, you can actually copy the library into the fonts directory within the Flexi program. So essentially, if you were to go into your program files, let's actually locate where I put it, you will have a fonts folder here. From there, or I'm sorry, the cast fonts. You can actually copy your cast fonts directories or libraries into here, reboot the system, reboot Flexi, and probably will have no problem getting those back up and going. Let's see here. Is it possible to send to VersaWorks if VersaWorks is located on a different computer in the network? Brian, that's a good question. Might be one that I need to check on. I have not run into that yet. It's a good question. So it may be one of those things that I actually need to find out. Now, what you could probably do is browse through the different computers here in your network. Yeah, I think we could probably do that. I just have not worked into it quite yet. But it's one of those things that we probably need to do a couple times in order to actually try that and make sure, because again, it's a matter of going in through the different folders and so forth to get it work. I'm not 100% sure, but it is something we'll definitely look into. Good question, Brian. Let's see, another question from David. Will any of the apps be available for tablets to use the design software out of the office or on the go? No, not that I'm aware of right now. Again, Windows 8 compatibility is now set up for the with the cloud, but most of the tablets are running the RE version of Windows 8, and that's just not a software that's actually being supported right now. So that's probably a no for now. But again, it's a question I'll bring up with SAi and their engineers to see if they have any plans for that. Let's see, getting quite a few questions here. Let me sort through some of these. Can we print out Pantone charts directly from VersaWorks? Well, not that I'm aware of, no. Now you can do some spot color, Pantone color, or matching in the VersaWorks software using their special color function. That would be one of those that I'd recommend your Roland dealer, or you get in touch with your Roland dealer, have them go through that with you. Or again, Roland's got quite a few pieces of documentation that would relate to this that would probably be able to help you out quite a bit. It's just a matter of going to the Roland website, clicking on support in VersaWorks, and again, looking through some of the links that they have available there. Let's see here. Carrie, good question. Every time I open my Flexi, I have to open my second swatch table. How do I make it stay so I don't always have to reopen it? Okay. In order to do that, the Flexi software is going to remember the last settings or the last function that you set up during the last operation. So for example, if I have both of these color palettes open here, and I want to open up another one, it really doesn't matter which one at this point. If this is the way you want to set this software up to go back every single time, with this open, close the program, and then at that point, go ahead into your preference manager and save the preferences. And again, go ahead and date it. Then at that point, when you open the software back up, it should actually bring that back up just the way you had it. So your other color palette should work or come up with no problem. Let's see here. Ryan Peterson, thanks for the question. Looks like since loading the Flexi Cloud, my program seems to be crashing some. Are these glitches that are being worked on? Has anyone else experienced this? Yeah, everybody's experienced it. Early versions of the Flexi software, including the cloud, did have some small problems. It was beta tested for quite a long time. We went through a bunch of different bug issues and so forth, seemed to have most of them resolved. Obviously, there's probably still some there. Let's find out, Brian, I'd like to find out exactly which build number that you have of the Flexi Cloud, as well as some specs on your computer. Maybe there's just another issue at bay here that maybe we can resolve. Again, call SAi support. Call your local dealer. One of us will be able to help you out and try to help out. Worst case scenario, maybe I can log into your system at that point, offer some tech support, and try to figure something out for you as well. Bobby Gomez, where can I purchase the cloud, Flexi Cloud? I'm taking for granted that's Flexi Cloud. Any SAi dealer is going to be able to help you out with that. If you do not know of a Flexi dealer in your area, call the SAi company, their sales side. They will get you in touch with a dealer that will be able to help you out. Of course, you're always welcome to help or give us a call. Actually, matter of fact, let me pull this up here so at least you have this visual. You can actually contact SAi by going to their website, calling their toll-free number. You can also contact us through our website. We do have a live chat, or you can call us toll-free. We'd be more than happy to try to help you out. Let's see, how do I move the profiles from 10.5 to the cloud? A tech installed the original. That really isn't that difficult. It's really a matter of, first off, saving or making a copy of all of the profiles in your whatever device driver that you have, the folder that you have in your ICC profiles list, copy and paste them over into the Flexi Cloud directory. It is one of those things that, depending on how it was installed, how the tech installed it, what directories that they actually set up, and so forth, could be a little different for each system. But again, it's one of those things that we could probably help you with. Or again, SAi, in a matter of 10 minutes, probably have you taken care of on that. So, Rick, if you have any questions, give me a call. We'll try to help out. Let's see here. Tom's got another question here. When you open up an older file from Flexi 8 or newer, will it in the future be able to update the files in the cloud version? Not sure I quite get it, but if I understand or kind of have an idea here, if you have a Flexi 8 file and you open it in the cloud version or any new version, whether it's if you're at 8.1 and you open it at 8.6 or 10.1, 10.5, if you edit that file and then save it as that current version, you're not going to be able to open it back in the older version of Flexi 8. Now, what you can do is within the Flexi software, as you can see on the screen here, you can actually go back and export the file, and you can actually choose older versions of your Flexi format. So it's really just a matter of getting that taken care of that way. I don't think Cloud and 8 are backwards compatible and so forth, so it's going to be one of those things that you're going to have to save twice, or possibly save an EPS if you need to at worst case scenario. Of course, you're going to lose fonts and so forth when you do that, but it is an option. Let's see here. Jose Torres, notice when I print and cut, contour is not accurate. How can I fix that? Where do we start? A lot of different things that could be going wrong there. Most of the time it's not software, even though I have seen some cases where it can be. But chances are you've got something out of calibration on your rolling printer or whichever printer that it is you have. Again, that's one of those things. Recommend contacting your rolling dealer or the service tech for the dealer or the manufacturer of your printer to try to help you out there, because there are quite a bit of calibrations there that could be going wrong there or just not accurate. All right, Eddie Harper, FlexiCloud won't load files in my template that I loaded from Flexi 10. How can I resolve this? Haven't run into that issue, Eddie. It'd be one of those things that definitely want to try. So I'm not sure exactly which template that you're referring to. If you custom made a template, I would like to see it. I'd like to have a copy of it, at least to try it, see if we could resolve the issue. The templates we're probably talking about here is in the file menu, and once we have an option in here, is going into the templates and applying a template. So if you have a custom created template here, it may be a matter of importing that template into the Flexi Cloud, resaving it as a template, and then being able to reapply it. So very possible that that would resolve the issue, but again, it's one of those things that we've got your question, Eddie. I'll see if we can't figure out some sort of solution for it. Let's see here. Let's use file exit, not click the X in the top right-hand corner. Rick Dodson said he made a comment, which may be accurate. I have not done it this way, but I haven't had a problem the other way. But it says to save your setup, you must use the file exit command rather than clicking on the X in the upper right-hand corner. Rick, honestly, I haven't tried it. It's definitely something that we want to take note of, and if it does resolve the issue or if it actually does work, then great, you found a fix or you found another option there. Thanks. All right, looks like we've got one more question here. My older files, which I'm taking for granted, I don't know if they're Flexi 5, 6, 7, 8, or what they're. Bring them into the cloud. They see the guidelines as an item to print. It will then print the guidelines. That sounds like you've got an earlier version of possibly the cloud. We want to check for updates on that. I would also like to find out which exact version of that file it is, whether it's a Flexi 5, 6, 7, or 8, whether it's also a Mac or PC file. It'd be one of those things I'd love to actually get a copy of that file. Obviously, at that point, we can bring it in, test it, see if we run into any problems there, or hopefully we do run into the exact same thing that you run into, and we'll see if I can get with the engineers and get some sort of solution and get back with you on that, Tom. I appreciate the question. A couple other quick things about the Flexi Cloud. Again, you do have some new features that may be helpful for you. The biggest thing that you're going to be running into, transparencies, the drivers, the Windows 8 compatibility, as well as if you have version 8, you're going to get a ton of different features that the 10 users received, plus the new stuff. You're also going to be able to go in and, again, use a Flexi quote capability. You can customize this. This will be covered at a different time as well, but you will be able to go in and actually create your own quotes. You can actually go in and change the setup functions and add products and things like that, to where you will be able to go in and actually start accurately quoting your system, your jobs, or anybody that has access to your Flexi Cloud. So Flexi Quote is something to kind of keep an eye out for as well. You also have a direct link to printer profiles, tech support, reports, messages, and of course the Sign Guild. You also can contact SAi or keep in touch by going to their Facebook page, YouTube, or their sign.com website. Let's see here. Looks like we got a couple more questions. How do we check for updates to the cloud software? Basically, from there, in the old times, you would actually go through this option here. Through the Help menu. Today, you're in the Flexi Cloud. You're actually going to go into the program list under your SAi Production Suite, and you're going to go through the License Manager. Then from there, it's going to actually give you the ability to check for updates and so forth. So here, you can check for license updates, and it will actually tell you if you have any updates available at that point. Let's see here. Flexi Ryan, question. Flexi 10.5 users have until what date to move to the cloud version without charge? That date is hard set at April 30th. Your PO or your order from the dealer has to be in by April 30th. So any later than that, you're going to get the new prices, which are considerably higher than this current promotion. In some cases, you're going to save over 50%. So I'm sorry, that's if you're using version 8. But 10.5 users, or any version of 10 for that matter, up until April 30th, you can get it for free. If you have questions on getting that, call me, email, text, whichever, and I can get you links to get you taken care of on that. Let's see here. David Kersley, I hope I pronounced that right. I have Flexi 10 and updated to the cloud. When I save files in the cloud, the file has a lock over the file preview when opening and won't send to VersaWorks saying the file is corrupt. Anyone else having this issue? No, I'm not. Have not seen it. Doesn't mean that you're not running into it, but it is something I'll definitely take a look at and see what we can find out. Again, this is one of those things I would like to actually have in order to better support you or help out. Get a copy of that file, or at least one of your files. Therefore, I can open it in our software, try it, and see if we get the same results. Obviously, if we can reproduce the results, we can get the engineers involved and find out what might be causing the problem. But that one, I don't remember being any in any of the beta reports or anything like that. But it's something that maybe Radisha or somebody like that might have some information on. We can check on. Let's see here. Let's see, a couple more quick questions here. Right, we went through the update process there. So currently, right now, current build is the 1907, so that is current. Paul, if you're still having problems with that, it may be something we need to talk on the phone, or you need to contact SAI and see if we can't figure out what's going on there. But currently, that is the most current and up-to-date. Has Flexi ever thought of a font management type program? Have no idea, to be honest with you, Brian. It's one of those things that right now most all of your TrueType fonts are being managed by the Windows operating system. So as long as that's working, I don't see them really doing anything there. A couple of things about the fonts in Flexi, though. You can actually go in to your fonts, modify, and you can actually remove fonts on the fly. So if you're not using, or if you're having some trouble with the software loading a little bit slow or anything like that, or you just got fonts in here that you're not using, select all of them that you want, click remove. They're now gone from this list. When we hit OK, we'll take a look at Monaco. Click OK, and from there, when we go into your text and go into your text menu here, Monaco's not going to be in that list. So you can change these on the fly as needed, and you can also add back in as needed. I believe in cloud, you do not even have to close the program in order to load a font into the Windows font directory. It will find it, so it's kind of a live thing there now as well. Let's see here. We got a few more questions that we've already gone over, some of those about checking for updates and so forth. Font management, again, this, I don't know. It may be one of those things that they're just not willing to mess with or get involved with. I'm not sure. If we downloaded the update from your invite, do we need to do any more? Rick, not sure on that. If we downloaded the update from your invite, I need to check on that. I'm not sure exactly which update that you're talking about in that case and so forth. But if you're looking to get the most current up-to-date version, again, yes, you want to go into your license manager, check for updates, and that will tell you right then and there whether there are updates in order to download and install from there. All right. Anybody have any other questions? If not, we'll probably go ahead and call this a day.
Okay, Bobby, thanks so much for your presentation. SAI has been a great partner to Roland. And Bobby and I were talking earlier, and we'd like to follow this up with some additional webinars with SAI in the future, and kind of tips and tricks on how to use it best with your Roland products. So keep an eye on the Roland website, rolanddga.com. And again, this webinar has been recorded. I know some of you were kicked out of it, so hop back on the archive, and you can catch up with anything that you might have missed out on. Okay. Next week, next Tuesday, our webinar is going to be presented by Eric Zimmerman, the product manager for color products for Roland, and he'll be going over our new Pro 4 and some of the basic maintenance techniques. Okay. Thank you very much for your attention, and we'll see you next week.